Hey YouTube, how you all doing out there? Hope you're okay. I'm okay. It's the 28th of July. Weekly chat about things. I love synchronicity and I'm long enough in a snaggletooth not to give a flying fig what other people think. But still, it is quite high risk to declare that you believe in things that you cannot see and you cannot explain. Right? This is true, isn't it? Most coincidence stories bring a feeling of upliftment, hope and happiness, but not all of them. And I'm sorry if any of my stories evoke feelings of sadness or pain. It isn't my intention to bring down a vibe, but this is life, right? Some life events are miserable, unpleasant, unwanted and sad. And it is all part of the rich tapestry of our life experience. Because think about it, if before you were born or after you die, go back to a state of bliss, what would be the point of being alive at all if you weren't going to experience anything other than bliss? I'm grateful to synchronicity because it has kept me going through some tough times in my life, and that's why I'm sharing it, really, to let other people know that there is more to life going on than what you can see in front of you. I'm sharing my experiences and my understanding and my beliefs in an attempt to help other people who might also find themselves in need of spiritual sustenance and hope. Hope that life does have meaning and everything does matter, because there's this idea that nothing matters and what's the point of it all, right? But actually everything matters and there is a point to all of it. It is difficult to convey how meaningful the coincidences are without explaining some backstory. So I didn't set out to tell my own life story against the backdrop of coincidence, so I have tried to keep the backstories to as much of a minimum as I could whilst maintaining the integrity of the story, which is not an easy thing to do, I've discovered. I've loved synchronicity since around 1986, and 30 years passed before this book started coming into being. This little collection of stories took around 2 years of sporadic note-taking, followed by 3 years of procrastination. My aim here, dear lovely reader, is to encourage you to create a record of your own synchronicities, coincidences, high strangeness, and weird events that happen in your life. So when you look back, you'll be able to recall them and perhaps spot your own life patterns as they unfold in front of you. I have chosen this moment to put this little book out to the universe because of a sign, a literal sign. This story makes up my final offering for this book, the synchronicity which I chose to interpret as a sign that it is time for me to stop adding information to this book, time to stop increasing my coincidence journal and publish it, is at the very end of my synchronicity journal in chapter 4. Forgive me, dear reader, if I've used annoying phrases or committed crimes of grammar, font or print. I've not set out to upset anyone by using undesirable phrases, cliches, predictable words or whatever irks your well-being. These words have been written with love in mind, and I have paid attention to the universe with a sense of wonder and awe of this life we are living. I do have a deep appreciation of the synchronicities which have shown up as I've written this book, or maybe they've shown up because I'm writing this book. Try that. Try having a little coincidence journal of your own and see what shows up. The mystery of coincidence is a beautiful part of life experience to be enjoyed and shared. It is this spirit of love, awe, light and laughter that I share my observation, both personal coincidence stories as well as some stories I've heard on my travels from friends and strangers alike. I have also created meanings for the signs and events you'll be happy to hear, lovely watcher, which I've listed in chapter 5. I'm happy for you to look at the meanings which I have attributed to the items which have shown up on my life path, both in the form of inanimate objects and life events. Whether you wish to interpret your coincidences the same way that I have is your choice. If the meaning I have given feels right to you, then trust your inner knowing. Trusting your intuition is essential to interpreting coincidence. Like interpreting dreams, it is your understanding of what the sign means that really matters, in which we live. I love coincidence so much that I've kept a journal, taken photos and regularly shared my experience on Instagram. I'm at Tastic Silver, that's Taz with a Z. I will try and put it on this video. Enjoy my musings, dear reader, and please do feel free to share your coincidence stories with me.